It's kind of crazy to think about, but some of the most powerful cars of yesteryear are now relatively accessible to some teenagers. In this list video, we're going to talk about the 8 popular cars that boast 300 plus horsepower and sub 6 second 0 to 60 times, all for around $10,000 to $15,000. Number 1 being the Ford Mustang GT model years 2011 through 14. I'm going to ignore the 2010 model year because aside from its looks, it will always be known as that one awkward year where it had the new body style, but an outdated engine. Anyways, for around $12,000, you can find a decent amount of these S197 Mustang GTs across the nation. It's kind of scary knowing that some kid out there right now may be getting gifted one of these monsters. Boasting 412 to 420 horsepower depending on the year, this Mustang GT houses the first generation of the Coyote Motor that, as many of you know, is a force to be reckoned with. Granted, I know insurance and gas prices are going to be a pain in the ass for some teen that just started out driving, right? However, owning this car at such a young age is not out of the realm of possibility anymore for most middle-class families where the dads just want to live vicariously through their kiddo. Not to mention, even the V6 Mustang of this generation is no slouch, with the 2011 and up V6s offering 300 to 305 horsepower and sub 6 second 0 to 60 times. It's arguably even more of a bargain. Heck, I'm already starting to see a lot more of these S197 Mustangs being driven around in Arizona. Number 2 would be the 5th gen Camaro SS. In the same class as the S197 Mustang GT, the 5th gen Camaro SS can be had for around $12,000. Not much to say here that I haven't already said in the previous entry with the Mustang. This Camaro rolls around with 400 to 426 horsepower, again depending on the year. It has an amazing aftermarket community, a reliable L99 or LS3 motor. What's not to love about the Camaro other than its horrible visibility? Number 3 would be the Dodge Challenger RTs. Like the previous 2 entries, the Challenger is certainly no exception, boasting a nice 5.7 liter Hemi V8 rated at around 370 to 385 horsepower depending on the year. You can rock this modern muscle car look for only $10,000. Isn't depreciation such a beautiful thing? Number 4 would be the BMW 335i model years 2006 through 2014-ish. If you're not looking into big old American muscle, well then maybe a German powerhouse is in your view. Look no further than the BMW 335i. It has twin turb skis, a sub 5 second 0 to 60 time from the factory, and the fact that it kind of behaves like a baby M3 makes this a sweet ride. That being said, if you're worried about reliability and how much it could potentially cost you, maybe consider a 328i of the same generation. It's no slouch either and retains many of the nice features of the bigger brother. Number 5 would be the C5 Corvette. The day has finally arrived when an average Joe can buy his son or daughter a C5 Vet to drive to school. Yes, I know insurance, gas, safety are going to all be factors when buying a car, but I'm willing to bet that some fella out there is thinking to himself, how can I make my kid one of those cool kids in school? I know, I'll buy a Vet. If you happen to see a youngin' at your school with a Corvette, hopefully they'll end up becoming a car enthusiast rather than some braggart. Number 6 would be the Cadillac CTSVs, model years 2004 through 2007. Although a little more rare to come by when compared to my previous entries, if you happen to come across one, perhaps consider it. It has a spacious cabin, the LS6 touting 400 horsepower, and surprisingly, it has underrated handling for a car of its class. Now, if only the modern CTSVs could be under 4,000 pounds again. Number 7, the Pontiac GTO. Who remembers Pontiac? Listen, GM must have been on a mission in the 2000s to bring you 400 horsepower for an affordable price. Now that it's been on the used market for quite some time, the GTO is yet another entry with an excess of 400 horsepower that's sure to ruffle your feathers. Give this guy some love as it hasn't seen the light of day for the last 10 or 15 years. At number 8, the Nissan 370Z. Nowadays, people give the 370Z so much grief for being a 12-plus-year-old platform. However, there was a time when it was widely respected and an affordable Japanese street weapon. Of course, you can't really say that about the late model ones where some of them easily climb to the mid 30 to even 40k price range. Always buy a used 370Z if you can. For that kind of money on a new one, you're within spitting distance of objectively better cars. If, however, you want something a little bit nicer in terms of interior quality, perhaps check out an Infiniti G37. Alrighty guys, that wraps up this video. What other powerhouses can teenagers now afford these days? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll probably make a part 2 if I get enough great suggestions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos just like this. But until then, peace out.